Welcome back to the Eye of the Observer podcast, where today we are talking about the SWANS drag show that's coming up. My name is Vanch, and I'm with Eric and Matthew, and let's dive right in. Welcoming our guest today, a writer for the ECC Observer and president of SWANS, Kip Kane. Kip, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Kip Kane. I use they, them pronouns. I am a second-year student here at ECC. I'm a creative writing major, and I am the president of the SWANS Club.
So Kip told me earlier yesterday that SWANS has an upcoming drag show that's planned. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Some of us don't know what a drag show is.
Of course. So a drag show is basically where people get in big, extravagant costumes. They wear a lot of makeup, and they do little performances, usually for tips. And our title this year is Dream a Little Drag with Me. We're very, very excited about it. And it's going to be on April 21st. We're going to start at 6 p.m. It's going to be in the Job Lounge. We're going to have the whole Job Lounge rented out. It's a super cool experience, and I'm really, really excited that I get to be a part of this one because I didn't get to the past year.
And just a quick follow-up question. When did you say that was? I know you said Job Lounge, but do you know the exact date and time?
Yes, date and time. It's going to be April 21st. That's a Friday night at 6 p.m.
Are you in the drag show?
I am, actually.
Oh,
I'm going to be a performer.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about it. So if you would allow me to talk a little bit about the persona that I've created. So all good drag queens have a good name. So the name that I've chosen, her name is Coral Reeves, and she's very cool. She's like ocean-themed drag queen. And what's very special about her is that because I will be tipped for this event, but I won't actually get any of the money, because all of the money that I get while I am performing as Coral Reeves is going to go to ocean conservation funds. I don't have a specific fund in mind yet, but I want to save the ocean because, humanity's ruining the planet.
Yeah.
And I've always been passionate about the sea since I was a little kid. So I was like, what better way to do it than perform and get out there?
That's very generous of you, honestly. I don't know what I would do in that position, but it's really cool that you would put all that money towards the conservation of the ocean. I think that's really, really generous, I guess, because I don't know what I would do with the tips,
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of plastic in the ocean.
Yeah.
Quite literally, and coral reefs are completely destroyed.
Yeah.
Because of us humans. So who are the drag queens?
So our host is going to be a drag queen known by the name of Jackie Love. And she did our show, I think, was it last year? But she's done shows here with us years prior, and she would love to come back and do it again. We have a couple other student performers. I will not name them yet because I'm not sure if they're actually confirmed to be here. But we've had a couple other queens that may return from the past. Like there's a queen by the name of Tori Chiffon, and the other one is known as Rachel Slurs, which is a really, really funny name, I think.
Okay.
It's great. But Jackie's the only one to be confirmed as of this current moment.
Okay.
So what's your favorite part of drag shows?
I've actually never done a drag show before. I've never been in one. I've always loved, theatrical things. So just being able to get out there and kind of strut my stuff, I guess, is really cool. I like having the spotlight on me.
So, and this brings up an interesting question with the drag show. Do you think that you guys will get support from student body on campus?
Oh, absolutely. We've already gotten a ton of support. So I attended a student government meeting, as you have to do for a couple weeks out of the month. And we have been updating them on our progress. And every single time we mention the show, everyone just erupts. It's crazy. I didn't realize how much of an effect that this show has on the ECC population. I thought it was it's just a little thing and we throw it together and that's it. No, this is huge. People really, really love this. And we've been doing it for a couple years now, and it was a pretty big hit last year. And I think it's because of our increased student attendance numbers now, it's going to be an even bigger hit than last year was.
So, transitioning from that, do you think, not only just SWANS in general, do you think that you guys receive support from the students on campus?
Yeah. I do. I think we have a good amount of students who come to our meetings. And, of course, we have the little safe zone training stickers that you may see, the little rainbow stickers in professor offices all around campus. And that is all because of SWANS. SWANS put that together, not when I was here, but before my time. And it's just a really cool way to know that we are supported and just loved all around campus. It's really cool.
Now that we're kind of focused on SWANS in general and basically just on campus, let's expand this to community wide. What do you think is the current state of like LGBTQ community nationwide? We know in some places they're widely accepted. Some places people are struggling with acceptance. Some people are transitioning into it. What's your stance on it here in Illinois, at least?
In Illinois, I think we're pretty accepting of it. In other states, mainly like red Republican states, you see all of this anti-trans legislation coming out, especially with things like the Nashville shooting that happened recently because that shooter was transgender. So there's been kind of an uptick in transphobia as of lately. But we are strong, we are fighting, and we are not going to let this one event hold us back because we haven't been held back for more than 50 years since like the Stonewall riots, which was 1969? Long time ago. But yeah, we're ready to fight, and we are here to make ourselves heard, and whatever support we can get, we'll take it.
And transitioning to that, have you ever heard about the Florida laws?
Oh, the Don't Say Gay bill?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's absolutely appalling. I don't understand how this group of people has this hatred in their heart for a specific group of people who have no choice in the matter. People say, oh, it's just a thing, it's a mindset, it's a phase. It's not. Your gender, your sexuality, it's not a choice. It's something that you have to live with just as much as your race. And I just think it's outrageous, the discriminatory stance that places like Florida are taking.
Now, I know we've talked a lot about Illinois, Florida, and red Republican states, but I know Florida is a big, I guess, a contender. They're against a lot of the LGBTQ things that are happening in the world right now. What would you have to say as someone who's trying to find, in this case, their sexuality, or maybe they're still unsure, unclear?
For somebody who's unsure of what they are going through and feeling, don't rush to put a label on anything because gender and sexuality, they're both fluid. They change over time. Mine has changed drastically over time. And it's all a matter of what you feel is comfortable in that moment for you. You can do research. There's plenty of resources online where you can find stuff out. And be patient with yourself is the biggest thing I would have to say because everything will change.
Do you have anything else to add about it? Like any awareness issues maybe that you know of beyond either on campus, nationwide? Because usually we've always seen the, what do you call it? Not parties or parades, but what would you call it?
Be a bit more specific here towards what audience, like
LGBTQ. Like, what would you
isn't
say?
that called a pride parade?
Yeah, pride parades.
Pride parades.
Yeah.
We've seen
Yep.
some of those happen. Do you think that people would have to resort to more drastic measures to be heard because of all the opposition that's against LGBTQ?
I think so. You got to be drastic with it. You got to get out there and like show that you're not afraid to be the person that you are. And that takes a lot of courage and that takes a lot of strength. And if you have a community like this, then you have people to fall behind. You have like cities to kind of fall back on and stuff like that. But coming up with the Pride parades, actually this June is going to be Elgin's first ever Pride parade. I'm very, very excited about it.
That's a big deal.
I know. It's really, really cool. It's there's a group, they're known as LGBTQ, which is like Elgin LGBTQ, and they are, I think, organizing the event, and I'm very excited for it.
Do you think you'll be in attendance?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think people will come out to be in attendance just to support this community? It's a huge community now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it used to be that people didn't want to come out because people back then weren't as supportive as 2023. Do you think a lot of people will actually come out there right on the streets, maybe come out to their friends and family, etc., to actually support LGBTQ in 2023?
Yeah, I think so because of all the opposition that we're facing, specifically from like Republican lawmakers and stuff like that. But if we get more of the word spread around campus, I think we'll have a huge turnout. If we have such a huge community for the drag show here, if we have a bigger event that's like town-wide, I think we could get a lot of people in attendance for that.
So recently, I'm not heavily informed of this, but I've heard there's been state laws on cross-dressing. Like there's been like some states that are banning it completely. So what do you have to say about such a matter? Because I feel like the way they might be handling it might be wrong.
I will just say clothes don't have gender. That's not a thing. That was a societally constructed thing, just like the way gender is. Like from the moment that you're born, you're socialized into being whatever gender you're assigned at birth, whatever sex you're assigned at birth. But gender is a wide spectrum. You can be cisgender, which is the same, your gender matches your sex, or you can be transgender, which means you're different than the sex you were born as. And just outlawing the way that somebody dresses, that doesn't seem right to me.
Now, something I actually want to throw in there. I was doing a little bit of quick research because I'm not really familiar with the topic, but around, let me see here, let's say a month ago at this point, did you hear about Tennessee's new state law?
I did not.
So the state law limits drag shows and identifies that male and female impersonators who appeal to a prudent interest are classified as adult-oriented entertainers. And so, because of that, they are banned from performing on public property or in places where children may be present. And several bills, and they're very similar, pending at least 14 states, might be passed because of Tennessee's bills. What is your thought on that?
I also think that is a crazy thing to do, is just, once again, clothes have no gender. The way you dress also has no gender. And they claim that they're, like, protecting kids. It's not protecting them. It's just hiding them away from another part of the world that you're going to eventually have to teach them about later. So it almost puts the onus on the parents to help their kids understand that topic, which they might not be familiar with, spreading more misinformation, and could be spreading, like, hatred as well. So I am just horrified at the state of some of the legislation that we have passing or is already passed in what I thought was a free country.
And what I wanted to throw in there was, I was just reading a little bit more. This has been going on for hundreds of years now. One actual example that might be from back then is in 1890. A San Francisco judge sent a person named Dick/Mamie Rubel to the Stockton Insane Asylum for wearing men's clothing in violation of cross-dressing law. However, when he disputed the charge, Rubel, he insisted that Rubel was not a man nor a woman, and Rubel had no sex at all. Unfortunately, the judge didn't see that at all and threw him into the state asylum for 18 years because of it. Now, do you think that states would resolve to this insane measures?
I think that if the legislation that gets passed the way it is now, and if the homophobic and transphobic lawmakers get their hands into this sort of mess, then absolutely, it might come down to that.
Yeah, something I would like to add is, like, I don't know if this is completely true, but haven't the same states been passing these laws? Like, any of these laws, haven't they been from the same exact states? Just like they're adding on to what they're doing?
Yeah, I think so. They're trying to crack down on it, whereas other states are trying to make sure that freedom is still existent and represented within all people, not just the cisgender or heterosexual folk.
Right. Yeah, I think some are remaining neutral, some are, like, supporting, and then some are just, making these laws.
Now, I mean, I think a lot of these laws that have been made, they're more to crack down on all this that's been going on in the world. And I think that the LGBTQ community can do something, maybe to overcome this issue. Can you speak on that? Do you know of anything that the community can do in general to try to really overcome these laws?
People have said it once, people have said it 1,000 times. Vote. Vote for people who are in your favor. Don't vote for the homophobic people. Don't vote for the transphobic people. Make sure that your sanctity is secure and that your personal freedom is safe, and just your safety in general.
And what can be done to support them?
Well, you can donate to there's a lot of LGBTQ-oriented charities out there. The one that always comes to mind for me is called the Trevor Project. It was started in 1998, and it focuses on suicide prevention for LGBTQ youth, because LGBTQ youth have higher suicide rates than cisgender or heterosexual youths.
Any final words to say either about the drag show or about the LGBTQ community issues that we talked about in today's podcast?
Well, I hope that the state of our country gets better, and we learn to put aside any kind of bigotry towards anyone, and we can all learn to live with each other and love each other in the way that all human beings should. And I hope that the drag show gets a really good turnout. Once again, April 21st. It's a Friday night, 6 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And a big thank you to Kip for coming on today's podcast. Thank you to our listeners, and a special thanks to our audio editor, Indy Wilson. And to learn more about The Observer and to see our work, visit elginobserver.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Observer Newspaper and on TikTok at Elgin Observer. Until next time, my name's Vanch, that's Eric, and that's Matthew, and we'll see you next time.